Hey y'all, in this video I wanted to talk about human nature versus egoic nature. So I had a conversation with someone a while back about egoic nature and human nature, and I think that a lot of people believe that human nature is people being greedy and power hungry and selfish and angry, grumpy, or cruel, evil. It's true that some people believe that human nature is just bad. That's just the way humans are. But here's what I think, and here's what I tell people who think that, because I don't know if they see the full picture. When you say that human nature is bad and evil and greedy or whatever, what you're not seeing is that that's really just the ego in that person, the unobserved mind in that person. The reason for this is the ego can be greedy and power hungry and evil, but not all egos are, because some egos actually are the opposite. Some egos need gratification. They do bad things for attention, or some egos do good things for attention. Some egos help others just to create a better sense of self. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but you have to realize that it's the unobserved identification with the mind that is creating this good and evil polarity. So I know it to be true that human nature is kind, loving, and compassionate, because human nature is a state of being. Human nature happens to involve the ego too, but they're not the same thing. And I think that egoic nature is completely different than human nature, because when you're truly rooted within yourself and you know yourself fully, and you know yourself not to be the ego or what you identify with, who you think you are, or whatever it is that you identify with, when you know yourself not to be that, but to be something deeper, how can you be cruel to other humans when you see it within them and yourself? So I believe that human nature is compassionate and loving, because a child is usually born loving and caring, and what happens is the parent, or lack thereof if there's no parents, the child will feel resentment and whatever, and maybe they're not raised properly, they're raised in a bad environment, or their friends are bad, I don't know. It could be anything. To me, when the ego takes over and you have an egoic sense of self, this is when you become power hungry and greedy, and you do things for the wrong reasons. So when you reach your inner self, your true nature, you'll find that you experience all these states of being: love, peace, joy, enthusiasm. When you can't feel these states of being, of love and peace and joy, then you will be feeling the egoic identity, and that's what you're going to be acting through. So really, they're two different things. Sometimes it takes one to be extreme to get to the other one. By that I mean sometimes the egoic nature has to be extremely powerful to then burn up, die, and then you find your true self that way. That's one way of doing it. And then the other way is to become conscious of the fact that you're identified with your ego, and then you awaken through that. So I guess I just wanted to make this video to kind of let people talk about it, or give my advice, or it's not really a belief, because I know that human nature is kind, because I've experienced it with myself and other people. When they find their deepest inner self, they're not violent or doing things for power, money. They're not evil. They're not doing things for good to increase their sense of self. When you really let go of your mind and what you identify with, you find what's underneath, and what's underneath is your true nature. So essentially, I had a conversation with a person a long time ago about egoic nature, and she said it was human nature, but to me that person was mistaking human nature with egoic nature, which means that that person thought that human nature was cruel, evil, and power hungry, when really that's the egoic nature. And when I pointed this out to that person, they quickly realized that that was the truth. Not that I was right in any sense, because this isn't my opinion. I just know this from feeling it. I've experienced it myself. I've been in both sides of the coin, you could say. Now, you can't have one without the other. We need egoic nature to show us what human nature is. It's not such a bad thing, even though it may look like it, but this is how we learn to disidentify, and this is how we learn to wake up, to become our truest self, and find our true nature. And it may seem like people who are identified with their egos, the greedy and the power hungry, the selfish, whatever it may be, it may seem like they are the powerful ones, and they're the ones who are taking over and whatever, there's so much evil in the world, and that's true. But the thing is, you can only get so much done before it crumbles down in front of you. They won't get too far. And the reason for this is because in the end, true power comes from inside of you. And you can only act and create beauty and act through that space of life, I guess, by finding your true nature. And this is where things really change. This is how the world becomes more awake. Now, you can't really teach someone who's deeply entrenched in their egoic behaviors and egoic identity to find their truest nature. It's kind of something they find, because soon enough, when you realize, after you've been power hungry and greedy and selfish and doing the wrong things for you for the wrong reasons, you'll realize it, because time and time again you're going to feel empty and you're going to feel unsatisfied, and you're going to ask yourself, why do you feel that way? And this is when you'll realize that you have to find your truest nature, your human nature, and do things and act through that true nature. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe. Turn on that bell notification for more videos coming out soon.